All right. I think that this is a very important video, and I've been wanting to talk about this for a while. I think in terms of your goals, this is going to be the most important video for you to achieve anything that you want to achieve. And understanding these points that I'm going to make, it's going to make a difference in your life. And putting them into practice is truly what's going to set you apart from the rest of your peers, your family. This is really going to change your life. These things is what I have been taking on for the past year to redirect the course of my life from what it was to where it is now. And I'm very happy with what these new mind changes I've taken on. Before I get into this, I want to make a point. You can learn and learn and learn and absorb so much information. You can take in all of the information in the world, but at a certain point, you're going to need to start applying that to your own life and really acting out all of the things that you've learned. So let's get into it. Manifestation. The most important thing in manifestation is persistence all around. Persistence in your work, the work that you're putting into your goal, the work that you're doing every single day, not slowing down, because part of manifestation is reshifting your past self into a new self. And if your past self didn't do a lot of work to get there, then you're going to stay in that old identity. And obviously you attract what your frequency is, and your frequency of the old self is aligned with that of which you don't have. So putting in the physical work to get there every day will help you realign your frequency into the new life that you want. Even if you're failing, this is where the next point comes in. If you're failing, but even if you're failing, you need to continue putting in that work. And if you are failing, if you're not seeing the changes that you want, this is a really important part, I think, because so many people, whenever they see something not working, they fall back into their old realities and they say, it's not working, I can't do this, I'm just gonna either stop or try something else. But you got to realize how hard it is to break the habit of being yourself. Read that book, by the way. You got to realize how hard it is to truly break down the old identity, kill the old self to be reborn into a new self. This is the alchemical symbolism of a phoenix rising from the ashes to become anew. You must kill your old self to become anew. So whenever these doubts arise, you need to work on your persistence in your mentality that you want to maintain. If you want to become a new person, you need to change your mentality. You need to change your perspective. You can't get bogged down whenever things aren't working, because getting bogged down is going to take you back to where you were. So the amount of emotional conviction that you have in yourself is going to be directly reflected in how far you can go. I'm going to get more into that later in this video, but that's so important to understand that your mentality is half of it. Your mentality is more than half of it. Your mentality is entirely what makes the progress in how far you go. Okay, so your mentality is reflective in how far you can make it. You cannot get bogged down by the things not working, because you're going to shift back into your old identity and you're going to make it that much harder to get there. Whenever doubts arise, whenever something bad happens, you need to twist that into, how does this benefit me? How does this make me better? How does it make me a stronger person? Every single time you need to do that. Whenever doubts arise, you cannot follow the doubts. If you follow the doubts, you're going to put those doubts over your head and you're going to limit yourself. You're going to say, oh, well, I can't do it this way because that just doesn't work. Bullcrap. There is no such thing as something that doesn't work. The whole point of manifestation is to create an abundance mindset. If you have an abundance mindset, you realize that you can do whatever the fuck you want. You can do whatever you want and still make it work, because you have that abundant mindset. There's nothing that can bring you down. You're living in a lifeline where things just work for you, and you genuinely believe that things work for you, because your reactions to whenever bad stuff happens is that of, this is going to work for me in some way. I'm going to make this work for me in some way. I'm going to spin this to work for me in some way every single time. So mental declaration leads to physical creation. You are going to create something great within your life. I genuinely believe that if you are watching this video, if this is in your algorithm, you are going to make something great out of your life. 100%. And with that, right now, you watching this video, you're making a mental declaration towards whatever it is that you want, whatever your desire is. And if not, make that mental declaration. What are you going to do? Mentally declare to your subconscious, the deepest, most hidden part of your brain, I'm going to change this in some way. I'm going to change my mentality. I'm going to make my mentality a growth-focused mentality where I'm constantly evolving and constantly getting better. Make that mental declaration. And with that mental declaration, you'll start to see signs, synchronicities, opportunities will start appearing before you for exactly what you ask for. And you need to be open and receptive to these opportunities because they can fly right over your head. If you forget that you make that mental declaration and you shift back into your old identity, they're going to fly over your head. See, God, the universe, the divine creative force gives you exactly what you ask for. As it says in the Bible, ask and you shall receive. You will receive every single thing that you ask for. So if you're constantly thinking about how bad things can happen, how something's going to go wrong, you're stressing about all of the bad things, and you're not putting any thought into all of the good things, all of the potentialities, then what are you doing? You're asking for those bad things to happen, because whenever those bad things do come up, you're going to notice it right away and you're going to focus on it. And you're going to hop in that lifeline of that bad shit that happens. So every single night before you go to bed, you need to use your imagination and think of the infinite possibilities that you can be. Let your imagination run wild. Let your imagination do the work for you, because so often we let our imagination go down these holes of anxiousness and stress and worry about these bad things that can happen to us. We do that so often, and you need to start catching on to whenever you are doing that, because you cannot do that. You cannot start going down these rabbit holes of what ifs, all of these negative things happening. You can't do that. That will not help you in your manifestation process. That will not help you get to where you want to be. You need to think of the potentialities. How often do you actually just sit down and imagine a happy future? How often do you sit down and imagine being rich, being wealthy, being successful? How often do you sit down and imagine that? Most people don't imagine that very often. But the people that do imagine it very often, they end up attaining that, because ask and you shall receive. If you are thinking about these things, then you're going to start seeing opportunities appear before you, and you're going to align yourself with those opportunities, and you're going to say, oh my gosh, like, it's happening. So whenever these here's the caveats to all this manifestation stuff. Whenever you start seeing these opportunities, whenever you make these mental declarations which will lead to the opportunities, you need to be open and receptive. You can't be thinking on limitations. Whenever you're trying to approach your goal, you can't think, oh, but I can't do that, or oh, but that won't work because. And I am dead serious. Never, ever, 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 ever think a self-limiting belief where I can't do this because of this. Never think that. That is a dangerous line of thought. And if you're thinking of the reasons that you can't achieve something, then you're just going to follow those reasons unconsciously. Because you're, like I said, ask and you shall receive. Whatever you are holding internally, it's going to be reflected externally. So you need to have that abundance mindset. You can do anything and it works. It just works. See, like earlier today, I have my dreams and my goals and my aspirations. But whenever I start thinking like, oh, well, I can't achieve that thing if I quit my job, right? But why would I tell myself that? Why would I tell myself that I can't achieve something if I quit my job? Why would I tell myself that? That's so limiting. That is so limiting to myself. Why would I limit myself like that? And we have these unconscious beliefs and patterns and subconscious beliefs where it's like, I can't do this because of this. And that's where imagination comes in. That's where visualizing all of the potentialities, all of the things that could happen and could come to be. Because visualization actually aligns your subconscious with that of which whatever you want. The visualization practice, it starts aligning you with like, okay, this actually is possible, rather than looking from the half glass empty perspective, saying like it's not possible. It's really creating the life that you want is simply just a mindset shift. And you choose all of your emotions that you have. You choose every single thing that you live with in your life. And whatever you accept into your life is what your life is going to become. So if something bad happens, something negative comes your way, and it can shift your emotion, your focus, your frequency. Your frequency is energy and motion, by the way. It can shift your emotion towards a bad route. Then your habits are going to be aligned with that emotion. So always be cognizant of what your emotions are and where they're going and where they're taking you. But beyond that, even more powerful than that, simply ask and receive. I can't say that enough. Mental declaration will lead to physical creation. Ask for something and the opportunities will come. Just be open and receptive to them. Don't shift back into your old identity of doubt. You manifest easiest. You manifest easiest that which you wouldn't put past yourself. So what does that mean? This is a huge point of manifestation. Whatever you wouldn't put past yourself in obtaining is what you're going to manifest easiest. It's like, oh yeah, I think that's probable to happen. Whatever you think is most likely to happen is what is going to happen. Every single time. Every single time. Whatever you wouldn't put past yourself is what is most likely is going to happen. So if you can't really believe yourself in becoming successful with whatever career choice you want to go into, if you can't really see yourself being successful in that, what are you doing? Maybe you need to put your energy into another type of career. Because if you can't see yourself being successful doing something, you're not going to manifest it. Every single thing which happens in your life, that happens in your life. Every single thing that happens in your life happens because you wouldn't put that thing happening past you. You'd believe that thing could happen. And then we start putting our energy into that thing. We start seeing it more often. And with that, I want to also express that your lowest standard of what you accept into your life is what is going to happen. And that's why so many people become complacent. That's why people end up working the same job for 30 years of their life, because their lowest standard of expectation for themselves is what's going to happen every single time. So what would you just settle for? What would you settle with? Ask yourself that, because that is what your life is going to become. What would you settle for? Whatever you are going to settle for, whether that be working 30 years in a corporate environment, if that's what you settle for, if you're okay with that, if you get comfortable with that, then that's what's going to happen. Raise your expectations for yourself. Raise up your lifestyle. The bigger the dreams that you have, the greater your life can become. We have so often we settle and we just become comfortable with our current lives, because that's the lowest expectation of belief that we have in ourselves. And it manifests because that's what we see to be most probable in happening within our lives. You got to raise your expectations for yourself. You need to raise your standard of belief in yourself. How far can you make it? How far can you go? You can go so much farther than you think that you can. You got to raise your expectations, because your lowest standard of expectation is what's going to happen. And whenever it comes to the manifestation journey and you're on that path, no ifs, ands, or buts. You cannot say, well, like, what if this happens? Or, but I can't do that because this. No, you cannot do that. No ifs, ands, or buts. None of that. Like I said earlier, you need to be abundant and receptive to everything, because every single thing that happens in your life is a sign. Look at it like that. Like someone says something mean to you. It happens because it's testing you to see if you're truly ready to level up your mindset. That's why that happens. Every single thing that happens in your life isn't just, oh, like weird stuff happens to me. No. Every single thing that happens in your life is a sign. It's a test. If you get emotional, it's a test to see if you are ready to level up and bring yourself to the next step in your life. Because you're going to keep going in that cycle over and over again, and you're going to have that same emotion, you're going to have that same experience constantly until you realize, oh my God, this has happened to me 16 times. When am I going to level up and stop doing that? Also, the rules that you make for yourself is what you're going to end up abiding by. And that goes into what I said earlier about like limiting yourself and self-limiting beliefs. Like, oh, I can't do this because of this. You're going to abide by that rule. And if that's a self-limiting belief, then you're just going to hurt yourself. The rules you set for yourself is what you're going to end up abiding by. And you're going to live by those rules, whether they help you or not. So with that being said, why not create the highest, most otherworldly, the best rule that you possibly can think of? And what is that? The best rule that there is realizing the only rule is that you are infinite potentiality. You are infinite. You can become any single thing that you want through any means. It doesn't matter how. And that's just how it is. The biggest part of all of this manifestation stuff, making your life happen, making your dreams come true, making your life be the life that you want to live, you must kill your old self to become the new self. You need to change your perspective. You need to change your thought pattern. You need to change your emotions. You need to change the work that you do day to day. You need to change your physical life. You must kill your old self to become a new person. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you guys think. I want to start writing more. If you guys would be interested in me creating like tiny guides or, like a book, let me know if you guys would be interested in that, because I have a lot of stuff in the back burner going. I just, I want to hear you guys' thoughts. Also offering coaching, one-on-ones, free phone call. I'll talk all the knowledge I know with you on that phone call, and we can go from there, bring it up to like meeting like 4 times, 7 times. But yeah, let's stick together. We're gonna level ourselves up, and we're gonna become the best that we can. And hope this helps. Thank you guys.